So now we're going to do an Ask Me Anything. This is our first try at doing this. I'm going to ask Adrienne a few questions that people sent in, and I'll try my best. I'm not a professional journalist interviewer like you are.
I'm not a politician who knows how to give answers either.
So we'll start with the first question. What are some of the funniest or most frustrating misconceptions you've heard about yourself? Things you wish you could clear up once and for all. For example, did you really break zoning laws by selling beer at Greiser's or having a second kitchen?
Well, the funniest misconception that I hear all the time is that I'm Dick Greiser's wife. I love Dick Greiser, but I love my husband Jeff Foster more, and he's cuter. But breaking zoning laws, no. First of all, on the beer sales, someone anonymously, very recently, called in a complaint to the Liquor Control Board, claiming that we were in violation of our permit. So I just went through an audit with the Liquor Control Board. So we can say right now, it's been reaffirmed, I am not breaking any
And you
laws.
went through all the town regulations and state regulations that
We got a permit, and when I applied for a grocery store beer sales permit, I first went to the town, and the town hired a lawyer so that the lawyer could make a decision. Now, I've seen documents only recently from way back when Dick Greiser applied to sell beer or liquor here, and he was denied at that time.
That was for a liquor store?
It's not clear. I think he applied at one point to have a package store. He applied at one point to have a beer permit.
Took him a long time to get the success model of a coffee shop where he's not running it.
Well, I had to show that we were selling enough groceries. So they look at your revenues. I have to show my annual revenues and the ratio of those revenues compared to non-grocery items. And we are clearly within the limit. We sell enough groceries to qualify as a grocery store.
You even sell onions, right?
We sell onions, we
That's
sell
great.
garlic, we sell bananas, we sell milk,
And
eggs,
the kitchen, the
fish,
second kitchen that people keep bringing up? I
So
know that's
we
a
have one
misconception.
kitchen, and
Okay.
it is now in the basement. When we
Gotcha.
first rented the space from Dick, I started small and conservative. I rented just the front room from him. At the time, he suggested I rent this. I could rent the basement. I could rent the whole thing. I said, let's just start small. I rented the front room. And I don't know how many people will remember, our kitchen was in this little closet. There's a little closet that goes from our coffee bar. There was a door there that went into the post office. We closed that off, and that was our kitchen. Poor Ryan stood in there making sandwiches because that's what we do in our kitchen. We make sandwiches and we bake pastries. So we've built the business up enough, which is what a business does, which is what we are allowed to do. We're allowed to intensify the business, not change the business, because we're a pre-existing non-conforming use property. But yeah, we've grown. So we expanded into the back room first. That allowed us to cut a hole in the wall here so that customers could now come through this room in order to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
That way, we were allowed to move Ryan out of the closet into the alley on the other side of this wall. Previously, we couldn't prepare food there because in order to get to the toilet, customers had to come through that alley. So we redirected customers here to go to the bathroom. Ryan could, we had a little more space for Ryan to work with the oven. Last year, I
got a grant, didn't you?
applied for a grant to the Women's Business. I applied to the Women's Business Development Council for a $10,000 grant. That's the max they give for what's called an Ignite grant. That's to help your business. What I applied for was money to buy a large oven, a large commercial style mixer for doing our baking, and a worktop fridge. We Before I did any of that, I went to town hall, got clearance that it would be okay for us to rent the basement, and if we could get the grant and get that equipment, we would put it in the basement. Therefore, moving our kitchen from this area to the basement. We had to put a hand sink in down there because
go
that's
through the health
required of the
district
kitchen.
for all of that, right?
I went to the health department. I went to the building department. The fire marshal, Skylar, came in. We have a permit hanging on the wall downstairs.
So if people have questions, they could always come see the permit.
They could come see the permit. They could talk to the building department. I followed all the rules.
Well, I think that answers that.
Finish answering that question. Another misconception that I find really frustrating is, like you, I've been accused of being pro-development. It's completely ridiculous. I mean, like you, I came to town for the space. I left New York City. I wanted to be in an environment with a lot of space. We were so excited to find a 3-acre property. Jeff's a landscaper. He's done beautiful things with it. And when we moved here in 2010, I started becoming aware of the buzz in the town and the things people talked about. And I heard about this idea of creating village districts to allow more commercial development. And I thought, that's nonsense. We don't need village districts. There are a few places in town that already have the rights to have commercial properties, but not all of them are really doing a great job serving the town. And Greiser's was my pet peeve. When I would drive by this place with the antiques / junk piled up out front and come in and shop for antiques and maybe some expired food and Dick's coffee that sat on a burner all day and was served in a styrofoam cup, I thought that place would make a great coffee shop and market that would better serve our town. So this whole exercise has been a demonstration of why we don't need to break zoning or bring in more commercial development to our town. And I think I've proved that.
Second question. You've been an active small business owner in Easton through Greiser's. What have you learned from running a local business that shapes how you would approach town issues like permitting, local commerce, or community engagement?
Sure. Starting a business here, especially as a person who had never started a brick and mortar retail or food business, was not simple, and the steps to do it weren't obvious. From going to P&Z, working with the health department, working with the fire marshal, doing a traffic study, doing a parking study. I was on my own, and I needed to figure all that stuff out and how to do it. At one point, Dick and I found out that our lease had to be filed with town hall and stamped there. How do you know these things? So I was so frustrated by that process that Patty Pop at Sport Hill Farm and Lori Dougal, who runs the Westport Farmers Market, and I got together to start the Easton Chamber of Commerce to help other small business owners figure out how to do that stuff. We could all help each other. Why not? Unfortunately, the pandemic got in the way of the progress of the chamber. Then we all got too busy to do it on our own. I hope someone will pick that up because I think it would be super helpful. But bottom line, I want to live in a town that is supportive of small businesses, not punitive. And I'm not talking about helping them break zoning or get around zoning. It's giving them the information they need so that they can comply, so that we all understand from the get-go what the rules are and how to abide by them.
Question 3, preservation with progress. What does that mean to you personally, and how do you balance Easton's rural charm with the need for investment in services and infrastructure?
So we say preservation with progress. Jim Reiling, who's a Republican, has used
former
the phrase,
RTC chair.
a neighbor and friend. He's used the phrase preservation, not stagnation. That makes a lot of sense to me. right? There are people we've both encountered in town who just want things to say exactly the same or even go backwards. Most people in town don't want that. What I've done here at Greiser's has preserved a community hub that's been here for more than 100 years. I'm not doing it much differently than Dick Greiser's grandfather did it, but it's clearly progress. Many people have told me they've chosen to move to this town because we have a feature like this in town where they can get together with the community. And realtors have told me the same thing, that they've been able to attract people to the town because of a feature like this. As far as the question of balancing our rural charm with the need for infrastructure and services, I don't even think they're on two sides of a seesaw. Like, Easton has rural charm. We've got it. And investing in services and infrastructure won't take that away.
Okay, next question. Question 4, how do you see the current political climate and the current administration impacting Easton both now and the years ahead?
Sure. Well, like I've told you, my husband and I we rely on the Affordable Care Act for our health insurance.
I think many people in Easton do.
And I know people who do. I have employees who do. So I'm really worried about that. What happens when my insurance bill is going to go up to $2,000 or more a month on a coffee shop owner's income? That's not sustainable. Also, due to tariffs and increased expenses that I believe are brought about by the current administration, our costs at Greiser's are going through the roof.
I've noticed.
Well, we haven't yet passed that on to customers.
Maybe it's just the extra coffee I'm buying for the campaign.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't. We've raised our prices over the years, but the difference between, just in the past couple months, between what we used to pay for, say, a croissant, the dough for a croissant, or a juice. I mean, Christian can tell you, he does a lot of that ordering. And so I'm worried about how that will affect our business, our ability to employ as many people as we do, and at what point we have to pass that on to the customers, and what does that mean for the customers? People love coming here and getting their coffee. Yeah. But if the prices of everything are so high that they're going to have to make decisions about their pocketbooks, it's going to be rough.
Next question. You've worn a lot of hats. You've been a business owner, a civic volunteer. What drives you to stay involved, and what have been your proudest moment serving Easton?
Well, hands down, proudest moment serving Easton was last year when I was honored with the Lessler Citizenship Award. Not just being honored with the award, but the number of people who came out to that event was really pretty amazing to me. My mom and dad came up for the event with my sister, and I thought, well, good, at least somebody will be in the room when Bob and the committee give me this award. But there must have been 100 people there, right? That was pretty cool.
That was great.
And it just shows what a great community we have. So I think I even said that day when I was accepting the award that when I was ready to move out of New York City, it was because I'd been living in New York for 9 years or whatever it was, and I still had no real sense of community. I had great relationships with my colleagues, and I knew my dry cleaner and the guy I bought wine from. But that's it. And I wanted to live someplace where I would have a sense of community. I thought the coolest job, maybe down the line, would be to be the editor-in-chief of a small town newspaper, where I could get to know about everybody in town and what's happening in town. So I didn't do that. I did this, and I have no regrets. I love it.
Easton has seen more women stepping into leadership roles in recent years. What advice would you give to a young woman thinking about going into public service?
Just do it. I did discover that there have been women first selectmen in town. It's been a long time, so maybe it's time to bring that back. There are more women in Easton than there are men, so there's no reason women shouldn't be running the place.
Well, if we're elected, if both of us get elected, I think it'll be the first time there's a majority female board.
Assuming Christie gets on the board.
Yes, which would be very unique, I think.
Yeah.
Next question. Leadership style can have a huge impact on how decisions are made and how communities come together or fall apart. If my opponent were elected, what are your biggest concerns for Easton's future? What do you think is at stake in terms of temperament, leadership, and the direction of our town?
I think there's a lot at stake. I mean, I worry that we could have a leader who continues to divide us rather than bring us together. I think that together, you and I, with Christie, can do more to unite the town. There's some false divisions. Our opponent will say he's all about conservation and protecting Easton as it is. There's no difference between what he can and wants to do and what we can and want to do to preserve the town. But there's a big difference in how that would get done.
So this is the rapid fire moment. Different questions than mine. Some are the same. Morning or night person?
Definitely night.
Definitely
night. That's why I'm not the opener here at Chrysler's. And that's why my staff gets texts from me in the middle of the night.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Anything with peanut butter in it. So chunky vanilla peanut butter, chunky chocolate.
I'm a strawberry guy. What's a book you've read twice?
There's a book called Ada or Ardor by Vladimir Nabokov that I read once while I lived in India, and I read it again when I got home, and I would read it again. Favorite book.
I have not read that one. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
That was easy. What's one word that describes...
Beach at 5 p.m.
Oh, very specific.
Yeah.
What is one word that describes Easton to you?
Wild. Keep Easton wild.